So I want to discuss people that partake in perhaps a new nutrition protocol, something that they haven't tried yet, and they're very enthusiastic about it. They become almost an evangelist about it, so they're preaching it and they're wanting to convert other people to it because they think it's the greatest thing ever. So a lot of times these people will adopt a new dieting protocol, whatever, for example, a ketogenic diet, IIFYM, paleo, what have you. And once you get into a new diet or a new approach, you get super enthusiastic, very excited about it, and you entrench yourself in all the research that you can find and other people that are doing it as well, forum groups, what have you. And so what I've noticed is, and I've done tons of diets myself, so I can relate to a lot of these people, is, for example, if you put a lot of faith into a diet and you do it yourself and you start reaping pretty good results, you really want to believe in your head that it's like the one and only, the end all be all, best approach, optimal for health, muscle building, fat loss, longevity, all that stuff. And you're going to probably be prone to throw out proof or research or studies from perhaps studies that are more favorable to condone such a dietary approach. Now, here's the problem is, whenever you see these people and they're convinced that this is the absolute best diet, for example, a high-fat diet, we'll use like a ketogenic diet, for example, they will display, hopefully, decent pictures, that motivate other people to say, hey, I want to convert and try that diet. You look great. But the truth of the matter is a lot of these people came from a different nutrition protocol years prior, and they built up, maybe a lot of muscle mass prior with different training techniques, surely a different diet protocol, and now they've been doing some new dietary approach for the last year, 2 years, 3 years, or 4 years, or what have you, in the later part of their training career or whatever. And so that kind of, I would say, can misconstrue what they're trying to project to the public, because now the public that's new might see them, start following them, and they think, hey, so-and-so's on a ketogenic diet, he takes in 60 to 80 grams of protein, you don't need a bunch of protein, he's on all fat, oh my god, he looks phenomenal, he's building muscle, it's insane. So that is kind of a misrepresentation of what got you there. But the thing is, guys, is that these people that are super embedded into this dietary approach are gung-ho. They don't want to hear anything negative. They don't want to hear any other opposing research. So remember, there's always one study that shows one thing, and then you can find an opposing study, body of research that will probably prove the opposite and debunk that or whatever. Those people definitely don't want to get involved in that, any of those arguments. It's definitely, or if they see new research that pops up that actually really says something that even really impacts them, and they know that that's legit and it does kind of show that something that they're following diet-wise isn't the best, you almost want out of sight, out of mind. Let's erase that from my memory history. I don't even want to know that that's bad, because I love this diet and I invested so much into it. I have followers now. I cannot know the truth of this new research that came out. So if you have a new research that came out to say something actually very negative about the new diet, the dietary approach that you've been following, you don't want to see that stuff, because you don't want to get questioned on it now. So here's the thing, guys. In all honesty, I don't think I've ever seen anyone with a super impressive, muscular, lean, full, dense physique that built it from the ground up from some of these nutrition protocols. For a vegetarian, you see some vegetarian bodybuilders. I'm sure there's been several for years, for decades. I don't know of any that have been popular that we've heard or known about that has a dense, crazy myofibrillar, thick, quality, fibrous muscle that's through usually a lot of protein, some carbohydrates, hard density training. I don't know if there's any vegetarians that have that body that we know about or that I've seen. I don't know of anyone that started from the very day one of their training regimen with a true ketogenic diet with very low protein, high fat from the start. That's the thing. We see a lot of these guys that built up the old school way that works. High protein, eating your ass off, tons of protein, carbs thrown in, some fats here and there, hard density training. And then after they build this foundation, they'll convert to a new diet, and they'll want to gather a following, and it's fascinating to try new things. But I think it can give new people the false illusion that diet is what built you. And so, like I said, I've never seen a true fat adapted ketogenic person from the ground up when they started bodybuilding, let's say hypothetically, at 16 years old, and now they're 35, and at 16 they started a ketogenic, high-fat diet, low protein, and they built something awesome that we see in magazines or whatever, that's like, damn, that's amazing muscle mass, that's crazy. No. Usually 99% of the time it comes down to the boring bullshit that we've done throughout history. High protein, it works. Carbohydrates fuel intense workouts, it works. Now, not everyone can do high carbs. Some people are medium, sometimes low. But the main thing is, guys, protein is very high, not under 100 grams, not all from rice and quinoa and pea and whatever other vegetable proteins. Usually, these people that are anything noteworthy have done it the way that it's boring and tried and true and just old school bro-ish. That's been proven, or not proven, I say documented empirically throughout time. So remember, whenever you're following, and here's the thing, guys, I've done it, fat adapted diet, I documented that. I've done intermittent fasting, and I've always said, all throughout pictures whenever I was on high fat, zero carb, and I looked good, the pictures look good, but I didn't want to confuse people and be like, hey, this is how to build muscle and this is the best way. I always told people, the reason I look this way is because I built it in the past and I'm rekindling old muscle. And once you build it, you have a good base. You can maintain it on low hormones. You can maintain it on new different diet approaches. But you always got to tell the public that, hey, this isn't what built me, guys. This is just a fun diet for the time being. Maybe it's good for convenience. Maybe it's good for not cooking multiple meals a day. Maybe it makes you feel better. But I just don't think it's best in, it might be in your best interest if you have an agenda behind it with selling something or wanting to gather a following, but it's really not in the innocent person's best interest, in their best interest to be disillusioned to think that's how you built it. So a lot of these diets are great. They're fun. It's always fun to try something new. Who wants to eat stupid high protein shakes, basic stuff every day? But you know what? At the end of the day, when I look back in time, everything that I've done, everything that I've been able to build, it's been from hardcore high protein feedings. Carbohydrates were jammed in there back in the day high. Now I don't eat a lot of carbs, as you guys know, but back in the day, you're damn right, I ate tons of carbs, tons of protein. Before a lot of injuries, I lifted heavy weights. I didn't do a bunch of giant sets. So these are things that are pretty much tried and true, and that build a lot of these physiques that you might follow today, that now these people follow some wacky, kind of off the wall, traditional approach. So don't get it twisted. Do your research. Always find out what works for you. But I would definitely say, this is just my opinion. You can tell me to go to hell or, I'm full of shit. Always back to the basics, man. High protein works. Cosmetically, I'm going to look better on a high protein diet, 60% or 50% or whatever, lower carbs, lower fat. Cosmetically, aesthetically, body fat's going to be lower for not just me, but for most people. Obviously, there's different variables and life factors and different metabolism and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, guys, sorry, it's nothing fancy. Have fun with new diets, but you want to get down to the nitty gritty and build raw, dense muscle. If you have no injuries, train hard and heavy with old school movements. If you have a decent metabolism, jack up that protein high, have carbs to fuel your training, whatnot, to build up that initial mass.